like there? I mean, you can imagine, obviously, the cameras and the lights and all of the press and everything there as you saw him. What was his demeanor like, and what is the very latest that you know here coming out of this important press conference?
Sure thing, Aaron. Well, yeah, I'll say just about an hour ago, I was there inside that courthouse watching as Luigi Mangione walked right past myself and a number of other reporters. He was wearing a blue shirt, blue jeans. He was, of course, handcuffed, and he looked, even in this court appearance, visibly distressed, but he kept his brow furrowed through the duration of this arraignment hearing. And I should say what was interesting, though, Aaron, is you said we haven't heard a statement from the suspect. He did actually speak inside of that courtroom to the judge and to all the folks who were in there. But it was on very selective issues, and I'll just kind of go through what we heard. The judge asked Luigi Mangione a number of questions, first about his identity. So Mr. Mangione confirmed that that is his real name. He initially said that his residence was in Maryland, but then the judge actually pressed him on that. And then he said, actually, I have lived at various addresses before then ultimately giving an address in Honolulu, Hawaii. Then he also said that he's worked for 3 years as a data engineer up until about a year ago, and he also told the judge that he has no drug or mental health problems that the court needs to know about. But Aaron, one of the most interesting parts of that particular hearing was actually his statements after the conversation about bail. The prosecutors basically stepped up there and made the case why they believe that this man should be held without bail. They mentioned that he is awaiting potentially an arrest warrant coming from New York City as one of the major reasons. But they also said that prosecutors noted that they found him with $8,000 in U.S. cash, $2,000 in foreign currency, his passport, and also a Faraday bag, which is basically a bag designed to stop transmission of cell service or other sort of things like that.
Yes, Libras are melting down on social media after this guy was found. I have seen some celebrate what this guy did. I don't know how true this is. I really want to know the end result of this. The investigation should be carrying out his motive. When you take a look here, you can see how Jon Stewart audience are actually booing off. They didn't want the guy to be discovered. That is what I've observed on social media. Extremely concerning. At a certain point, I didn't want to report this.
Yeah, I was like, couldn't have been that guy. Today, they did appear to catch that guy today at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. It's true. Look, I'm sorry, guys. Apparently, a bystander at the McDonald's ratted him out. Wisconsin Democratic Party. Ben Wickler is going to be joining us to discuss the future of the National Democratic Party. Specifically, is there going to be one?
They caught the guy, the UHC CEO. For such a professional hit, it's kind of weird that it didn't leave the U.S. The guy that reported it was a McDonald's worker. I would never advocate for violence on my page. But it would be pretty funny if we beat the shit out of him, and then when he went to the hospital, that if he was out of network and had to pay a huge bill, I think that would be funny. I'm not advocating for it, but it would bring a smile to my face.
When you take a look at these pictures, that is the person. On this clip, we are going to take an exclusive look. I have all the details I'm going to show you, but before I do that, first take a look at this clip.
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy at a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not no.
How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's been gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Of Americans that he murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who, because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people, and the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about.
Yes, years ago, I saw a lot of people celebrating what he did. I put out a video partaking to this where I condemn this. No matter what, that is not the best decision you should take up. I understand you might have different opinions pertaining to it, but nobody should be celebrating They're taking away the lives of this CEO. Now, when you take a look at this article, the person of interest in the United Health CEO execution has been identified as Luigi, a former Ivy League student and activist. Luigi is described as a tech whiz and was a former valedictorian. When you look at this article, you can clearly see that Rep Manjan is his ex name. That is according to this person who put this out.
The guy in the photo that turns out is not him because it's not the same backpack, it's not the same jacket. Tells me everything I need to know about this investigation. You couldn't find the guy that was at the hostel. They probably already have his info, they probably have everything, and you haven't even been able to identify him. You called him a person of interest. Now you're coming out saying that he's not in New York anymore. Really? How do you know? Was that your brilliant deduction that led to this information? They found his backpack and a few discarded items in Central Park. Central Park would be the first place that I would go to because there's no surveillance cameras, as far as I know, inside the park. And you can exit anywhere. So it's pretty much impossible to go through every single exit and figure out which way this person went. So in a situation like that, I would say it's pretty brilliant to go into Central Park and then sort of take off from there. The fact that I've heard New Yorkers are now dressing up as him to go around and mess with the cameras is... If New Yorkers wanted to help, you would have caught him by now, but they don't. So best of luck on that investigation. And I hope the guy that was mistaken for him actually gets something out of this, because his poor face has been plastered everywhere, calling him, if I was him, I would sue the life out of you for that.
The more I find out about the situation, the more impressed I am. Deny, defend, depose on the bullet casings. I was like, oh wow, yeah, clear message. Sent and received. We got it, okay? They just found his backpack in Central Park and it was filled with Monopoly money. The absolute poetry of taking out a wealthy CEO while carrying around Monopoly money. Because
take a look at this video I just obtained. NYPD Commissioner Jessica suspect in UnitedHealthcare CEO murder review as Luigi. Officer recover a firearm as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used. And they also recover a clothing, including a mask, consistent with those worn by our wanted individual. Additionally, New Jersey ID matching the suspect was recovered. Additionally, officers recover a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivations and mindset. When you take a look at the whole situation, I really want to know the end result of this, because a lot of conspiracies are online pertaining to this. Some celebrated it, some says this is a good idea, he's a hero, especially Libras putting this out on social media. If at the end of the day we can know the truth, what motivated him, it will be extremely good.
Denied by insurance makes me physically sick.
Do you think that they know who he is? You think that they have his identity?
It's a good chance. It's a very good possibility with these new photographs that he has, that they already know who he is. Mm-hmm. It's a very good chance of that. But I want to say something else that I know these criminal investigators are looking into as it relates to motive. There have been times when people have orchestrated their own demise for certain reasons. We know that there was some, and I'm not saying this is the case, but as an investigator.
Like for insurance purposes?
Absolutely, insurance purposes.
Many years ago.
Dear Mon Pa MAGA.
United States.
Trudeau is at the end of his time.
That's what she did.
NBC News can now project that Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race and will return to the White House.
And Donald Trump will be our next president.
Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
CNN projects that Donald Trump has been elected president, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris and making a political comeback unlike any.
Donald Trump likes my music.
In personal autocracy.
Head around that.
It's to make real change, but unite. Now it's time to unite everybody.
Shake it off.
Figure out a way to say thank you.
Hi.
You mentioned that guy's name. He's such an absolute prick. I can't stand him.
Hey there. I'm guessing you're not doing great.
It was a terrible night last.
The rest of us be doing on day one. Now,
well,
Bishop Vigano, he says that the